My name is Connor. I am located up here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I've been climbing for just over 2 years now. Not
Years.
super long. Yeah. And I just started with like a just a friend invited me out. And so we would go to like the local gym here in Cal one of the local gyms in Calgary here, at the Calgary Climbing Center. And it just like the first day after going, it just kept rolling, kept rolling, kept rolling. I just got deeper and deeper and deeper with climbing. And so I started all indoor and then I learned how to lead climb within 4 or 6 months or so.
Okay.
So I kind of started, yeah. And in Calgary, it's pretty cold up here. So I started climbing like in October and it was like not the time to go yet.
Yeah.
So it was like April the following year that weather worked out. I got into lead climbing like as soon as I could. And then within like 2 months of that, I had my whole outdoor like sporting gear set all good to go. So
Just
we
jumped
dropped a
in.
couple grand
Yeah.
and we were committed. But I like it's just because I love it so much. Like climbing is just awesome. So when I got into it, I just went like full ahead on
You
it.
were right in it. You were
So
all in on it.
yeah. So yeah. So actually, just to, if we're yeah, we can talk about that for a bit. But just when I got into climbing, like yeah, first session, I remember like afterwards, no, like I couldn't like hold a sandwich
Couldn't
the next day. Like
hold
my hands and
anything.
arms hurt so
Yeah.
bad. I had to like put them down in my lap to like rest. It's
Like,
such a weak sauce at the beginning.
oh.
But it worked out though, like my semester and stuff with being in school, full time and stuff like that. I was still going like 5 or 6 days a week, and I'd be going for
Dang.
like 4 to 6 hour sessions.
Wow.
So we went like super hardcore when I first got into it. And I just loved it so much. Like I was skipping class to go to the climbing gym. I was
Skipping
just trying to be there
class.
like as much as I could.
Yeah.
It was just awesome. And then and we'll talk about kind of life balance with climbing and school and
Yeah, that
family and
didn't that
different
doesn't
things like
seem
that
very
later.
balanced. Skipping
Yeah, no.
class.
At the time, I was only taking like 3 classes. I was single and
Yeah.
I had a lot of free time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it worked out. But again, yeah, well, we can talk about how the balance, sometimes that changes over time.
Yeah, for sure.
Different priorities and stuff that are going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of got like full swing into it. And then climbing season again, yeah, I got all my stuff, was able to go a few times throughout that summer. And
And
then
going
it's kind of just
outdoors
been like
onto
that.
actual rock, right? Is
Yeah, yeah. So here in Calgary, like yeah, the closest spot, like I usually just hit the Hippo Valley.
okay.
And so there's a couple places out there that I've been to. So it's been awesome.
Nice. So when you first started out, were you like drawn to like a certain style of climbing? Like were you bouldering or top rope mostly? What were you doing?
So when I first got into it, yeah, so the climbing gym I go to has like boulders, a speed wall. We actually have the tallest walls, at least in Western Canada, if not like Western America. They're like 65 foot
Oh dang.
roots in our climbing
Okay.
gym. And so yeah, both yeah, top rope at first, then eventually into lead climbing.
Hmm.
And so when I first got into it though, I think naturally like I was able to pick up on it pretty quick and felt was like I was pretty strong at the time, and so bouldering was like came pretty easy, I think, to me.
Yeah.
So I started bouldering a bunch, and so I was got pretty quick up to like V4s, V5s,
Yeah.
pretty quick into climbing, and then I've kind of capped out at V5s and V6s.
Okay.
I'll project a 7 from time to time, but nothing too crazy. I've my shift has kind of my focus is like shifted to more of like rope climbing and route climbing and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's kind of more of my focus now is all ropes. But just focus like just on at first was yeah, just like mostly top rope and then lead climbing now and stuff. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. I am kind of similar, so um, definitely enjoy ropes more than bouldering. I do boulder. I do both now. But
Yeah.
when we started, it was kind of the same thing. We were just like fixated on one, and then we're like, oh, what's this?
Hmm.
I'm not as good at that as I am on ropes. So, but
Yeah.
we've worked to try and equalize like grade level on that.
Hmm.
So you said
Nice.
you're,
Because you started climbing about the same time, right?
yeah, we
A few
started
years ago.
climbing February of 2022. So like
Okay.
a year and a half ago.
Hmm.
And so like maybe like 6 months after you started climbing. And then
Hmm.
yeah, kind of similar journey. We were like lead climbing after like 4 months and getting outdoors around then as well. So yeah. So you said you capped out at like V7 right now. Is that kind of where you're at V grade wise right now? Is like a V7 is your limit right now? What are you
Yeah.
climbing
So
at?
for,
What's your highest? The people want to know. This is
but
people want
people
to
need to know.
know. They're gonna want to know who
Um.
is this guy? What grade does he climb? V grade, Yosemite decibel, whatever. What are you?
Oh dang. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going on. Yeah. Okay. So for Boulder, hardest I've ever done is V6. I don't think I've actually done a V7. I've just projected, but I don't think I've
Okay.
actually finished one.
Okay.
So, a handful of V6s, and then for top rope, hardest I've ever done was an indoor route. It was a 12 minus in in our gym, so it's like a 12A, maybe a
A
12B.
or B somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Nice.
is about the range for that. So for top rope, and that's yeah, that was a 65-foot route, and then outdoor. Actually, it was also actually no, outdoor is also top rope. I didn't, so yeah, I wish I could project this one.
Whoa.
It's in the works. But in Skaha, I did an 11A,
Okay.
which whooped my butt. But hardest, yeah, for lead climb though, it's only been like a 10C
Okay.
or so.
It's
So
hard. It's hard transitioning from the gym to outdoors. It's so hard
yeah,
to
yeah.
make that transition. I found like
Hmm.
most people I talk to, it's like almost like you're going down 2 grades from what you're climbing in the
No, at
gym.
least, yeah, yeah. So I feel like, and that's one of the questions that you posed too in prep for this was like,
Yeah.
I feel like I was able to grow like pretty quick grade wise. Came out swinging, and then I did hit that plateau. I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of people who kind of go like yeah like hardcore into it hit that pretty quick, and so you kind of yeah I was hitting up to the higher tens, lower 11s pretty fast,
Hmm.
and then kind of just plateaued. And it's been like a struggle to get through that and kind of working on it still. And then, like we talked about earlier, with work-life balance and everything else going on, I actually haven't been able to climb in a long time.
It's hard
So
to break
it's my
through a
off season right
plateau.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my off season, but do have some goals and plans in the works for getting back into climbing season. Now that I'm in rugby season right now, and so once rugby's done, then I'll be able to transition back into it. But
You haven't climbed in a little bit. So do you
mm,
think that were you able to get through your plateau before you kind of slowed down?
I feel like I was like in the works of it, yeah. And so I was able to like push a lot of grades at the beginning of this year. Like I had my goals
Hmm.
set and plans to execute those, but it yeah kind of worked like just things got busy with
Yeah.
family and dating. Like I said, yeah, I just got married a week and a half ago, so it's been months of
Congratulations.
planning
Yeah.
before that. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Um, Full-time student, full-time working, and so it's just that balance of
Hmm.
trying to find when to do the fun stuff and when can I get out to the mountains and go climb, especially when it's summer, like outdoor season. Like I just want to be out there all the time, and it's just hard. Balance and picking up new hobbies and stuff too. My wife and her family are huge into dirt biking, and so that's like a new hobby that we've kind of picked up too.
Okay, so it's kind of
Um,
fallen to the wayside to go dirt
so
bike a little bit.
yeah, yeah, we made it. We still made it out a couple of times this past outdoor season, but
Yeah.
not nearly as much as I wish I did. But like yeah, last spring or the past spring and like beginning of summer, I feel like I was like on the high of getting through working through reaching like the grade goals that I had set,
Hmm.
and being able to climb harder and be stronger. And so I feel like I was on the works of that, and now that it's been less climbing and stuff, I'm scared to go back, and it's just gonna
Yeah.
be a humbling experience to struggle on a 5.6 or 5.7. But
Yeah. That.
and it's something like I'm actually like excited for and like embrace because it's gonna be like a challenge and it's gonna be hard. But that's something that's just part of climbing. Like it's always gonna be hard. If it's not hard, it's not fun. So
Yeah, for sure. What was your
mhm.
process when you were going, when you were like trying to break through that plateau? Were you doing like a strict like training plan? Were you doing any kind of like anything that would like set you up for success, or were you just kind of just at high volume? Let's go hit it or whatever.
I definitely did not have a strategy. It's definitely the latter of just climb hard and climb a lot. So
Yeah,
um as for like dieting and things like that, my goals, like personal goals and stuff, has always just been becoming stronger. So it's not always just getting bigger, different things like that. Again, like I have like rugby focus plus climbing focus plus just my own personal focus and stuff.
personal focus.
So nothing really changes. Like I don't try too hard. I just like to eat what I like to eat and call it good.
Yeah.
And with training and stuff too, like it's similarly, like I have both that rugby focus and climbing focus. And so um at the time though, like focusing, yeah, I would like do periodic workouts. And so I'd be climbing at the time I'd try to be climbing like 3 times a week or so. And then on the days in between, I'd climb every other day. So on the other days I'd be try to do a workout session instead. And so again, lots of back workouts, strength
Hmm.
workouts for rugby and like just high intensity kind of workouts for rugby and conditioning, but then at the same time try to find that balance for climbing. And so finger strength and arm strength, different things like that, calves, all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff that gets neglected. So
That's
I
good.
definitely was like starting out coming into climbing, I was like all arms. Like I could pull myself through like anything. And so trying to find that balance, and just technique, just try to be better. And so my goals actually have now that I've kind of had this off season, and then like you talked about going into this new climbing season for myself, now that I've had a break away from it, I think a lot of like my focuses have changed in goals and priorities when it comes to climbing. Um, and so we can talk about that, yeah,
Yeah.
whenever. But that's kind of
Yeah,
just there's been a
let's
huge
jump
like
in on that.
yeah, there's just been like a huge like focus shift for me. Um, and so when it comes to like my goals before, so last year, so I can talk a little about that. Last year I had goals of lead climbing, getting into the 11 grades for lead climbing
Hmm.
for outdoor. Top rope was hitting like 12s and like being able to like consistently hit 12s. And then my boulder goal. I think that might be the one I actually hit was doing hitting up V6s.
Hitting
So
V6s. Hey, there you go. You got to take the wins when you can.
we got one
Hmm.
of them. Um, and so those are like a lot of goals were just focused around like pushing grade, becoming stronger, things
Yeah.
like that. And that's not to say that hasn't isn't still like my goals coming back into climbing, but I think it's just fallen a little lower on my priority list actually.
Yeah.
Um, And so for my first goal, and just sharing them all with you, I just have three big ones.
Yeah.
The first is just being able to climb more. And so that's like just compared to where I'm at, anything's kind of more, so I'm sure we'll hit that one.
Yeah.
But just climbing more often, both indoor and outdoor.
I like that. I like that
So
goal though. Kind of like
mhm,
instead of that grade chasing, which it's super easy and it is they are good goals, you know, because you can quantify it, right? Did I
mhm,
hit that grade? No. Um, but I think taking that like perspective, coming down to earth a little bit, and just be like, you know what? I want to just enjoy the climbing and just actually
mhm.
just be there to climb because I like it.
Yeah, it feels like a little less like selfish in a sense. Kind of just doing it for me. But like, yeah, my wife like loves to climb, and so we like just to be able to go more with her. And we have like a solid group as well that we climb with, Jason being part of that group too. And so just to be able to climb more and like spending time, because I like spending time with these friends and stuff, and it's a way to connect, especially being like married and we have like a lot of single friends still, as well as like friend couples and families that we hang out with and stuff. And so just that balance between like being able to spend time with people is like what's more important, I think, than yeah, kind of grade chasing, which is
Yeah.
it's on the list. It's just a little further
It's
down. It's
not
still
not it's not number one anymore.
yeah, it's just not yeah, not the first and only goals.
Yeah.
It's number three, but um
That's a good
yeah, but that kind of
restructure.
that
I
ties
like it. I like
yeah,
it.
yeah. That ties into my second goal though, actually is just being able to invite people every time I go climbing, inviting people to come with. And so I think that ties into kind of like that first goal. It's been awesome like the last 2 years that I've been climbing, or the only 2 years I've been
The only
climbing.
2 years.
Um, and I can't tell you like how many friends I actually can't I don't know the number of how many people I brought into climbing. Um, and your brother being one of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
And kind of
aren't you the
getting
one
them
that got Jason in there?
yeah, inviting Jason and Bernadette out and then have just like I would argue like dozens, I think, of friends who I've gone like getting into it or back into it.
Yeah.
And so that's just something that's so satisfying. Is why I set that goal was being able to see like new people come and climb, and people were like, "Oh, like," and I was in the same boat. I'm like, Why would I want to do that? And I don't know if I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have like the skill set, right? And
Yeah.
so that's something that I've learned is like anybody can climb. It's a fact. Anyone can climb. I've seen it.
I love it.
Um, but then, like when people like when you bring out a friend who's like never climbed before, and they're like they're nervous. I don't know what people are gonna think of me. I don't know what I'm doing, all that kind of stuff. And seeing like them at the end of the session, and that's something I ask just about everyone at the end of their first session is like, would you come back? And they're like, oh, I would like love to come back. I've had friends go and buy like the shoes, harness, chalk bag, gree, everything right away. Like the
Yeah.
next week, you come back with like all geared up and kitted out. And so it's just
That's
awesome to
sweet.
see that when people are like, yeah, people just want to be in it now, and they're like as hooked as I was when I first got into it. And then seeing my wife Sloan, like she climbed a lot when she was younger and then didn't as much. And so getting her back into it, she loves it. And it's something that's awesome. I love that we can just like share and do together and push one another, having like that motivation of being like accountable to someone when it comes to like our goals that we've set or pushing each other and doing hard things, different new things and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just inviting people out. I'm just we're a very social couple too, so we love to just like hang out and spend time with people. So that's why we kind of set that goal is just to make sure we're always including friends and bringing new people into the sport and just having fun with it.
I love it for that aspect as well, kind of the community that you can just bring anyone in, and like I love that you said like climbing's for anyone. Anyone can climb because it
Hmm.
really is.
So just to finish things off with goals, yeah, my third goal, last goal is just grades. It's just pushing grades. Um,
What are
that's
give me the grades.
Oh, the first two
Oh,
goals of last year still we're still working on
still
those.
get
So
those. Those have
yeah, so being able to yeah, so leading at this point, yeah, we're still in the tens and so being able to push into 11s for leading outdoors. And then on top rope again, like I don't know if I'll be able to how fast we'll get up to 12s for top rope, but that's definitely a goal still to like push as I get back into it. And I have like that it'd be kind of like new year goals, I guess.
mhm,
And so having like a full year, I feel like that's definitely within reach though to get
yeah.
back into it and then be able to get the strength again to get up to 12s would be awesome. So
Yeah.
boulder we just boulder it's just more for fun. It's
You just
just I
boulder.
don't
There's no
it's
goal
not
for
as
bouldering.
serious.
Yeah.
So nah, it's kind of just for funs,
That's
but
okay. That's okay. All the boulder
yeah,
bros
flash
are just
everything.
so angry
So
right now. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. But but yeah, like you're talking about, I think it's super cool. It's been awesome to see like both at the gym or at the crag. Just how like anyone can climb and like it's so awesome like bringing friends out outdoors and yeah, it's like the shock of like indoor to outdoor climbing and stuff, but seeing people just crush it Like literally anybody can do it. Friend Sloan and I have a friend who's blind actually, and she climbs too, which is
Yeah.
super cool. But her name's Melissa though. She's awesome. That she works at a climbing center and she has been blind all her life and climbs. So it's super cool to see. It's
Dang.
humbling, and she like teaches people how to climb, how she climbs and different things like that. Gets people to try it and stuff. Which it's
Okay.
like thinking about yeah, like putting a blindfold on and climbing some route. Like it's nuts, especially outdoor would be insane.
Yeah.
So it's super cool to see that. Yeah, literally anybody can do it.
I think if I throw a blindfold on, I'm screwed. That's impressive. The transition from indoor to outdoor, was there any like when you were going outdoors, did you have any like was there any fear when you were making that transition?
Okay, how I learned also how to lead climb was on some very greasy slabs. So I would not recommend that for starts. I didn't fall at all that first session actually,
Very good.
but it's scary. It is like there is a fear like to it. When it comes to climbing outdoors and lead climbing especially
Hmm.
um and overcoming those fears. It's been hard. I don't naturally have like a fear of like heights or things
Okay.
like that, and so that's lucky for me that I've been able to yeah, I just love to be outside. When it comes to like the fear of falling though, that's something that's like very real, and I feel like it's um what's the word? Like no one really escapes it at first.
Hmm.
It's something like everyone has to kind of get through and figure out for themselves. And so when it comes to yeah, fear of falling, fear yeah, you're gonna hit something, you're gonna hurt yourself or whatever. Um, and overcoming that, it is difficult. I feel like it was pretty easy for me at first to actually overcome that. Just being able to trust, okay, I can do it.
Hmm.
Self-talk, things like that. Um, and then actually, I had a pretty big fall.
Oh.
Um, teaching your brother how to lead
Yeah, I was
climb.
gonna say Jason. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure I heard about this because Jason said that you like took like a 20-foot whip one time,
yeah, it was. Yeah, it
and he
was
didn't know
20
how
to
to lead
25
belay.
feet.
He didn't know how to
Yeah,
like you had literally just slapped a gree on, told him, gave him the crash course in a minute, and then you took a massive whip.
yeah.
And
Maybe we can cut that out of the video. That's yeah. That was on me. That's 100% on me to just take him out there. This is how we do it, and here we go.
let's go. I'm not gonna fall, and then
Oh,
you
absolutely
fall.
not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was teaching Jason how to lead climb and lead belay, and yeah, you actually summed it up pretty good. Here's a gree. Here's how to do it. Um, we'll be fine. And so so I was climbing up, and I'm trying to remember. I can't remember how many bolts it was on this route, 6 or 7, I think. And so I was up. I got up to the third bolt. So I don't know. In Canada, we do it in meters here. So it was
Yeah,
10
I
to
feel
12
like
meters up.
everyone knows the.
So, so yeah, 10 to 12 meters up or so. Um, so like a safe falling distance from the
Yeah.
ground, from the deck. And so I was working up to the fourth clip. I get my draw in, but I get up and I was holding on to this one hold. And I'm like, oh, like it's not very comfy. I don't love it. So I'm trying to get to something else, and I'm like, I don't want to clip off this. Oh, I don't want to clip off this. So I just keep going and I keep going, and I get higher and
Oh,
higher and trying to find something better and better. And I just start panicking and panicking. And I'm like, I just need to find something, and I'm freaking out. So stupid of me. I end up waist with fourth clip not clipped in.
and where's
And
third? Are you
then
like you're like what? How many
it's
meters above
another like
third?
yeah, 3 or 4 meters above, probably 3 meters above that. So yeah,
Yeah.
10 feet or so.
Yeah.
So I'm just freaking out of my mind. I'm like, can't find anything nice to grab onto. I'm waist with this clip that I'm not clipped into. I'm like, this is just awful.
You got a
And so
belayer with a minute experience.
he did one climb before,
Okay,
so
okay. So you had a test run on something easier.
yeah. But I'm holding on. I have this brutal side pull, and my right arm's not doing much, and this finger just pulls and goes. And I
Oh.
actually end up falling sideways. And there's this ledge like 3 feet to the side of me, and my head just misses it.
Oh,
And then there's a tree to the left that I went, yeah, right in between this tree and this ledge.
wow.
And so I fell, yeah, 20, 25 feet, and we were between there. Um, and yeah, that shook me up pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, I was just sitting there probably for like 15 minutes. I was like, I couldn't move. Like, I was so rattled. And Jason was like 5 feet below me. So we're just
Oh,
chatting.
jeez.
He's so close. And so, yeah, I like super shook up. I got back up to where I was. Like I pulled myself up on the rope to back to the third clip, and then I was like, "Oh, I gotta do it all again."
Yeah.
So, and so yeah, I was there for like another 15 minutes. So I just felt bad for everyone else waiting, and I was just shook up. And then eventually, I'm like, well, I just gotta do it. Like I gotta. My mistake that I didn't bring anyone else that knew how to lead climb on this this trip.
Yeah.
But I was like, I gotta finish it, or I could make Jason do it. But I'm like, no, I can push through. I can do it.
Yeah.
So mental barrier, yeah, just had to get through it and force myself up and clip, and then worked my way up. Eventually, we finished the route, so it was all good in the end. But scary, and that reset my fear of falling again.
Oh.
And that was um my first outdoor season. So yeah, so like a year and a half ago or so.
Hmm.
And then it took probably like a good 6 months, kind of overcoming that fear again of falling. And so getting back indoor and climbing routes and stuff. And it was hard transitioning um, out of that fear again and trying to
Hmm.
get through that mental block. Um, and honestly, like I don't know, if it came to advice to tell people like how do you overcome fear of falling, like I don't really know. It's just something you got to deal with and you got to manage. Um, One of the pieces of advice that I could give though, and that I learned from that experience was like not to panic. And
Yeah.
so panic just adds pressure. And when you can be calm, you're just in control.
Hmm.
And so, learn like that was a huge lesson and takeaway from that experience of falling because I was just panicking, didn't know what to do, and freaking out, and it just made things worse and worse and worse. And I was putting myself just in a more and more dangerous position.
Yeah.
And so, being able to just keep calm for starts, is one of the biggest things that you could one of the biggest pieces of advice that I could give to someone, is to like not freak out. So controlling your breathing,
Hmm.
um, taking breaks when you need to, and stuff like that. Whatever it is to have fun and be as safe as possible out on the wall. Um, yeah, it's not worth dying over or hurting yourself, but
No.
you can still push yourself. It's not bad to push yourself, but keeping it within some sort of limits and being smart at least if you're gonna be dumb about it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And climbing, like, how do I overcome this fear of falling or climbing outdoors? It's kind of like, well, just don't have fear. Kind
Yeah.
of, you know? And just like taking
Mm.
that break to do what you need to in order to overcome that and know your limits, but also being able like push through that kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
That reset, sitting at third draw for 15 minutes, being like, nobody else is gonna climb this except for me, so I
Hmm.
kind of have to. Otherwise, I just brought people out into the woods to
Yeah,
climb,
we can just go
and they
for a
don't.
hike.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just for a hike, Which there's nothing
Hmm.
wrong with that, but you promised climbing, and so you kind of, especially as the person
Yeah.
inviting you, feel that obligation, kind of like going back to that community. You want to have them have an enjoyable time.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think um just having that perspective of like why you're out there and like what are your goals. And so if you're there to like have fun and enjoyable time and things like that, like the quickest way to ruin that is getting hurt.
Yeah,
And so just having like why am I out here? What am I out here for? And the joy of climbing and stuff. So there's yeah, enjoy it, push yourself. Um, but I think that's what helps as well with like overcoming that fear. There has to be that balance of why you're doing it. Has to be greater than the fear of doing it. And so like enjoying climbing, enjoying being out there with people, pushing grades, doing all that fun stuff, helps overcome that fear. And so just keeping things real, keeping it in perspective,
yeah.
um, helps with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you said you earlier you like climbing outdoors in Bow Valley. So like
Mhm.
what is like your favorite climb to date or area? What's kind of stood out to you? What's like, and it doesn't have to be like the hardest grade you climbed outdoors, but just like what is the climb that you're like, this climb is awesome, it's amazing, like everyone needs to climb this, or anything about the area
Mhm.
that you're like, oh yeah, it's beautiful out here or whatever, and what draws you to that spot.
No, that's a good one. My first answer when I was prepped for this question, what is also the hardest one that I've climbed outdoors. Um, but there's two parts to that though. So yeah, so I normally just for convenience wise climb in Bow Valley, so that's just closest for us.
Hmm.
It's like an hour and 15 minutes maybe, if shorter than that. So super close, lots of crags close by to go to. My favorite place that I've ever been to though, this past summer, so back in May, um, we were able to go out with some friends and go to Skaha in BC.
Okay.
And that was probably the best place I've ever climbed at. And it's fun. Like when you go out to like so for my Bow Valley book and stuff, like it's got like I don't know, 2 dozen places to go to or whatever. And then it's like, hey, each section's this a few pages and stuff.
Hmm.
But when you get like the books and stuff for Skaha, it's like just thick. There's like
Textbook.
thousands of climbs. Like it's so much fun. It's so awesome. And so um for a few reasons, convenience wise, like when you park, like you can be as close as like a 5 minute walk to the closest like place to climb, and like there's the whole range of grades there.
Yeah.
But you can be like a 5 minute walk to like we went to it's about like an hour hike to like one of the farthest spots.
Okay, so like longer
Um
approaches or short approaches.
yeah, they've got it all. And so yeah, like length of approach, grades for climbing, and it's just beautiful out there. Like BC is just so pretty. You got some creeks and stuff. Lots of different. You have like anyways, different levels of climbing. You can
Yeah.
like elevations. I mean, like different spots and stuff to go to. It's just awesome.
Okay.
Um, and one of my favorite climbs I've ever done is also the hardest one I've done
Hey,
outdoors.
that's fair.
It's
That's fair. I just didn't want you to like be limited, like, oh, this is the hardest one, so it has to be
yeah,
my favorite.
yeah, and definitely in like my top like it's definitely in the top like three list. It's called Tilted Glass or Tilting Glass. And it's an 11A. So again, yeah, the hardest one I've done. And we had some friends we actually met up with out there that we worked with at the climbing center, and they ended up going up and putting up a top rope for us. And they were projecting it too. And so they're like, "Oh, you want to just give it a shot?" And we're like, "Ah, sure." And so it's literally like a tilted piece of glass. Like it's this straight wall tilted in like couple degrees,
Hmm.
and the holds are just so small. Like you're
Just
just
tiny.
just holding on to anything. It's crazy. And so it was so much fun. Though, like I had pictures after as well. Like the holds are so small and so sharp that like my fingers are just all cut up
Oh,
and stuff. And it's just good memories though. It was an awesome
yeah.
climb. Really hard, and it just pushed me so hard. And um it's yeah, an 11A. I can't remember how many clips it was because we just had a
Top
top
rope
rope
on.
up, so I don't know actually how many bolts it was. But I took 3 takes on it, and it was just like just brutal. But it was just so much fun to be able to like push myself and putting like I've never done anything that hard before.
Yeah.
And like crimps, like who loves crimps? Like it's just so hard. And these things were like
Just razors.
so small. Yeah, just literally just razors holding on to. And so, but it was like so rewarding. And I think that's why it's like one of my favorite climbs, memorable climbs. It was just so rewarding getting to the top of it.
Yeah.
Um, was just like being able to see that you can that people can do hard stuff, and I could do something that was hard and push myself like out of my comfort zone, out of my grades, everything like that. Like it was just so rewarding to be able to do that. Another climb in Skaha as well, and it was at that I can't remember where it was. It's at the place like an hour. It was the hour hike, one of the farther places we went to.
The deep,
Um,
the deep
the
crags.
deep, yeah, you gotta work
That's
for
a
it.
trek.
I can't remember what it was even called. It's in like Skaha's like top 100 though climbs, and
Okay.
it was just there's one that was a lot of fun. to do. But Skaha, just overall, yeah, probably my favorite place that I've been to so far.
Tilted glass, is that like more your style? Do you like slabby crimps or like
Oh,
what's kind
absolutely
of
not.
no?
No.
What's like your
Absolutely not.
go-to? What holds? What type of climbs do you like mostly?
Style wise and move wise, like I love like just the compression and tension. And so it's so satisfying when you can get like a sick Gaston in and things like that, great compression holds and things like that.
Hmm.
Just being like super dynamic and flowy with it is what helps me enjoy the climb. I love just
Yeah.
being able to flow with it and move. And just lots of dynamic kind of stuff. Like I said, like I when I first got into climbing, it was just like just strength, just brutal strength,
Yeah.
and just being able to get up anything.
You're just
And
doing
so
like
being able to
muscle
balance,
ups on
yeah,
the
just
wall,
pull,
really?
like just canvassing everything. No, just finding that balance though with like being able to learn technique, and so footwork and things like that. It's just being able to find balance in the body. And so while you're climbing, because some things are just like holding on real hard with certain parts, and then other parts you need to loosen up with and be able to move and flow, and everything needs to work though together to be successful in climbing. And so that's one of the like a huge takeaway that I've taken from climbing, I think both to continue to plateau climbing, but just as well, like just life in general.
Yeah.
Um, but just be able, that's what I find joy in though, is while I'm types of climbs is just being able to be flowy and dynamic, and tension and compression, just be able to be in control the whole time
Hmm.
rather than just kind of pulling hard on stuff. And that comes into like when you need to, you can, but um, just balance. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. It's kind of interesting that like you shared like your favorite climb is this like slab crimp style,
Everything I hate.
and
Yeah.
it's everything you hate, and then you share the right like stuff you love, and it's completely opposite, which is kind of cool to like take it that perspective of like it's not really about the climb suiting your style, but more about that journey that you went on that makes the climb so special.
Mhm.
And probably
For
also
sure.
the fact that you had a great community with you when you went there, right? To like
Mhm.
go hang out with friends and have a super enjoyable experience out in nature. It wasn't just, oh, I had to have like the perfect climb. There's more to
Mhm.
than to just that rock that you're climbing that creates an amazing
Yeah.
experience and makes it enjoyable. But let's go into the last question, which is how have you seen climbing, right? For people that don't climb, like what are some life lessons that you can draw from climbing that kind of apply? You kind of touched on it where you have to find that balance and try hard over here in order to make stuff work over there. But
Mhm.
what can you share with people that aren't climbers that like maybe entice them into climbing?
Yeah. To touch on that life lesson we kind of brought up earlier. Um, while climbing and stuff, like I love just being able to have again like that flow and dynamic to it. And so like when you're climbing and stuff and you have to hold on really hard with your left hand on something and shift your body weight over to your right side, and maybe you're moving over to the right or whatever it is. Just having like kind of like that flow and control um, with your body while doing it is something that I love to experience and enjoy. Feeling like you're in control. And I think that's something like in life, like everyone loves to feel in control. We don't like when chaos is going on and we don't know what's happening and we don't have a plan. And so just being able to apply that, like there's things in life though that we can't control and we would never will be able to control.
Hmm.
And so first like understanding that, and the same thing with climbing, like we want to always be able to like control weather conditions or who we're with or who's climbing beside us, right? All that kind of stuff. The rock, the quality of the rock that day, different things like that. And so, but we can take into account what we can control. And so, um, and same thing with life, like there's only so much we can do. And so just focus on the stuff that you can do.
Hmm.
And that's like, that can fall into like having like our attitudes and stuff while we're waking up. taking care of ourselves, like having that well balance of like physical, taking care of ourselves physically, like spiritually, mentally, emotionally, like all like socially, all those dynamics, all those aspects, um, and just being well rounded in that, um, I think is something that's important. That also falls into what we touched on just briefly earlier with like my exercise goals and things like that. When it comes to climbing, like you need to be well rounded. If you have like the strongest fingers, that's great. But if you don't have like a strong arms or shoulders or back or legs to complement that, and especially a strong core, like you can't just be good in one thing and then you'll be like a pro. Like
Yeah,
you have to have that. You have to be well rounded if you're going to be um above average, I would say, in
above
it.
average.
If you're gonna if you're gonna push yourself, you need to be able to humble yourself and be able to work at all of those in all of those aspects and
Hmm.
regards. The same thing with life. Like sometimes we just want to be really good at one thing and that's great, but there's so much more to it. And when we have that balance, I think it only helps more with that one thing that we're pushing or we have that goal of or pushing towards. And so again, those big takeaways from climbing into like real life is just like balance and control. Um, and to entice those who don't climb,
Yeah.
um, it's just like being able to push yourself and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and do like trying hard things. Um, I've had similar experiences just to tie into my big fall real quick. I've had experiences since, very similar where I'm on the wall, I'm climbing up, and I put myself in a kind of sketchy,
Hmm.
dangerous situation, and I'm far from a clip or whatever it might be. But being able to be in control and not panic, and so learning from that and being able to apply it to okay, like I'm okay. I'll go to the one step at a time. I'll get to the next move. I'll move here and okay, I have a plan. I'll get to the next part and then I can clip in and I'm safe and I'm good and whatever it is. And so, same thing with life. Like sometimes we just don't know what to do next. We're panicking. We don't feel like we're in control. So just taking that one step at a time, being able to what's the one thing I can do today to make progress? What's that one thing like I can get 1% better at today? And over time, that 1% just grows and grows and grows. And next thing you know, you'll be crushing life. So
Yeah, crushing life, crushing climbs. You can't just overcome it with being super strong or good in one aspect of climbing or in
mhm,
life, but that you have to be well rounded in order to have success. And maybe not to the point where you become an above average climber, or an above average person, but you
mhm,
become like the best version of you, because the best version
for sure. Yeah.
of me or whoever, right? If you've done all you can to like well round yourself in climbing or in life, you become the best version of you, right?
Mhm,
It doesn't have to be compared to anyone else, which I really,
100%. Yeah.
that's kind of what I took from that. I really like that. And then also going off of what you had said after that about like taking it one step at a time, right? That you went through a change from that first one where now you're like, okay, we're going to acknowledge that this can be scary, and then we're going to push through it. So kind of hitting it head on and
Mhm,
kind of telling yourself that you can overcome these things, right, in life or in climbing, right? That like, okay,
mhm.
we've been here before, or if we haven't, right, we've prepped beforehand by well rounding ourselves to overcome those things and hitting them head on. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. That's a good summary. Yeah.
Yeah. I This was awesome. I loved being able to chat with you. It's been a long time, man. It has
Yeah, it
been
has been. It's been too long.
it's
Too
been
long.
too long. I want to hear about all your updates coming up. Um,
Oh yeah. We'll
Getting
keep you in
back
the
into
loop.
climbing. Keep me in the loop. Maybe we'll do like an update further down the line. Let us know how your goals are coming along. Those goals are awesome. Like completely rearranging like what I feel like most people set as goals as climbing, which,
Hmm.
right, kind of like grounding yourself, which I really like. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's sweet. I'm excited
Yeah,
for
thanks, Nate.
what you have coming in life and in climbing coming up. So
Thanks, Nate.
keep us
Appreciate it.
posted. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.